Hello, is this Ricky El Gallero Palacios?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I mean, I thought that you probably would, I know that you're probably busy right now at the moment trying to get prepared for this fight that you're going to have on probably one of the biggest opportunities you had in MMA, because I know that a lot of people are only caring about the Tito Alberto fight card, so I just wanted to try and ask you a few questions, if that's all right.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the biggest, the biggest one I've been with that Tito Ortiz against Chuck Liddell ring. I think that one was historic for me.
It was historic, mostly for a lot of things because of the fact that it was Oscar De La Hoya's first venture into MMA and ultimately his last. And a lot of people didn't know, how this was going to go, other than the fact that the main event was going to be the main reason why people was going to watch it.
For sure. But it was an awesome card, to be honest.
I mean, so before I even get off into any questions pertaining to your fight career, I just have to ask, you grew up in Mission, Texas. You're 32 years old, you grew up in Mission, Texas. What was it like growing up, in that environment near the U.S.-Mexico border, learning how to fight?
When you're young, when you're a kid, pretty much you don't have any responsibility and don't know what's really going on. Have my parents, my grandparents and family members work in the field. My dad working construction. So I really didn't pay too much attention to that until I became a teenager and started seeing how life was, what it really was about, the trafficking of drugs, money, human, fights, people getting, people going missing, people getting killed. It started getting harder when I was a teenager. It started getting scarier. But, as you grow up, I guess it's just normal now.
I mean, even though I live all the way out in, the Houston area, it's a lot crazier, especially when it comes to growing up around situations like that. The road gets a lot scarier, so to speak.
It gets scarier too. Growing up in this environment, you get to, I guess, you get to start reading body language, start getting to know people. So you start picking and choosing who to hang out with, what to do, what not to do. At times when you're young, I'm not saying when I was a young adult, early 20s, I was getting drunk, hitting downtown McAllen, all the clubs and bars and doing all stupid things, right? But I didn't care, so I started getting a little bit older, started getting into fighting. I started seeing, how things could change from being taking a fight to being, 6 feet under. It was just scary knowing, people getting killed. I had a high school friend killed, I think it was, 2 weeks ago. Got shot 7 times. Yeah, just by, people now, people do some crazy shit nowadays. So, living in this, I guess, this environment, it's scary, it's crazy. People don't understand what we go through. People talk about, because Houston's a bad, it's a crazy city, but, the main trafficking is really much on the border. It's on the Rio Grande River, heroin, cocaine, marijuana, human, money, you name it, cars, everything.
Basically,
the power
everything
is right there.
under the sun they could smuggle comes from the U.S.-Mexico border, pretty much. That side of the U.S.-Mexico border.
Yeah. It's crazy, but, as I'm now, 32 years old, I already know what it consists of. Still, I mean, anything can happen at any minute. I live with that in the back of my head, but I'm just living life and try not to get myself in trouble.
Understood. And because of that, it led to you. I mean, it probably would disqualify me from asking what turned you on to mixed martial arts, but growing up in that environment pretty much sealed the deal for it, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, it's a raw environment. You grow up fighting, picking fights, getting in fights, defending yourself. You name it. I mean, I'm gonna say typical. I guess teenage years, but over here, I mean, there's always. Maybe everywhere, but we're always trying to protect ourselves, and people are always trying to gangbang, and claiming Mexican. I'm gonna say gang, just to say just so they can think they're bigger than you, and so you can be scared, and I mean all crazy stuff. You just run into everything when you're young, so fighting was part of growing up.
Right. And that's what led you probably into MMA, correct? Because I know that you only have, at least from what I'm looking at on Tapology, you have one amateur fight. And
I actually have 6 amateur.
Oh, my bad, because, I mean, I'm looking at Tapology, but I didn't know that you had 6 amateur fights. How were those like?
It was fun. I mean, I started off. One of the main reasons was I was obese. I was close to 200 pounds, and I wasn't fat. I was just really thick, and I mean I was somewhat fat, but not fat all completely fat. I love to pick fights, but I'm an adrenaline junkie. I love the rush. And one day I just got into a training with some guys just at a flipping garage, and fell in love with the workouts and started losing weight, and it became a bucket list to get in the team.
Right. But after those 6 amateur fights and 2 fights into your professional career, you stumbled into Combate Americas for the first time, knocking out Matt Wagey back on December 12, 2013. December 12, 2013. Now, when it comes to this particular version of Combate Americas, back then, it was basically a reality show that turned into a fight promotion. So I just have to ask, what was it like fighting, for Combate Americas that first time, not knowing that it was a reality show, or not knowing that this was just a vehicle for, fighters from Latin America to fight for, well, not just their own, but fight for their own persona, pretty much, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it was when I got introduced, by a good friend of mine, Chris Lopez, San Antonio. I think he had fighting.com. I don't know. He had a website. I don't remember which website. And he had followed my amateur career. I went 6-0. 6-0 with I had three title fights. My last 3 fights.
Oh.
And then I went pro. I went 2-0. Had 2 knockouts. And then I got into the reality show. Chris was the one who told me to do the application. It's in my bio. And there's a reality show that they were gonna, I guess, they were gonna be able to represent culture, I guess, the city, everything pretty much. And people love everybody knew me because of my image, my cowboy hat. Pretty much, I show them my cowboy hat now. And I said all that to the reality show or to Combate, and they chose me as one of the fighters for the reality show. And then later on, I was in the reality show and went through the won several awards. And I was able to fight Matt Whitey at the end of the show and got a TKO win on him.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And, you know, it's kind of crazy because, I mean, this TKO happened in the second round, 1 minute, 29 seconds. Did you really feel any nervousness going into that first fight, not knowing that it would end that quickly?
No, I go in every fight the same mentality I've always gone into every fight. I go in there prepared, as prepared as I can mentally, knowing that the fight could last 3 rounds or 1 round. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't go in there. I go in there with the intention to knock out my opponent, but I know that it's difficult for it to happen because we're both, trained athletes. But, you know, as soon as I see the openings, as soon as I see myself connecting, you know, I'm just able to defend, and that could be a knockout coming out. And after the end of the first round, I had a feeling, it was a cup.
Right. And now, currently, you are, and this dates back to 2013, but you're 7-1 currently in your Combate Americas career. I don't want to try and skip all the way up to recent times, but your most recent loss was against Cooper Gibson at Combate 40 back on June the 21st. I mean, this was your second loss in your career, so I have to ask, what was the game plan like going for that fight, even though you lost via arm triangle choke?
Oh, man, there's so many factors playing in for that fight, before that fight. That's the heaviest I've ever fought in before. There's so many things going on that I don't want to make excuses. You know, because Cooper Gibson is a big guy, and going in there the way I went, and, I knew it was going to be a 50-50 chance winning that fight. Not because of not because of the opponent, who he was, but of the things the factors that I had to play before the fight and during the fight. Mm-hmm. And going in there, I mean, he was a big guy. I feel like I was picking my shots up already. I felt like I was going to be able to dominate him and stand up, probably even knock him out. And, he was a big guy. He took me down, and I could feel the strength from him. And he just outpowered me. He didn't beat me up. He didn't do much to me. He just, got the weapon and triangle and was trying to put it on me, and finally, I was able to adjust and put that submission. Mm-hmm. But I didn't get discouraged, nothing like that. It didn't beat me. I knew what I was going into this fight, how I was going into this fight, and I knew what could happen. And just, it's part of the fighting. You win something.
I see. And when it comes to this upcoming contest that you're going to be having in about 2 weeks' time against José Ceja, who's 4-5 overall, but is going to come in with a lot to prove. I mean, have you studied any tape on him? Have you, looked at what he might probably bring to the fight?
No, I know José Ceja. Give me a second. I know José Ceja for a while. When I was fighting amateur, he was fighting amateur. I fought Joe Scott. I have one loss to a guy named Joe Scott, and I have a second loss to Cooper Gibson. Mm-hmm. I fought Joe Scott in the amateurs for an amateur Texas Rage in the Cage 145 belt. I TKO'd him in the third round. Oh. And Joe Scott has been teammates with José Ceja for a long time. So I had been keeping an eye on José Ceja. And then later in the future, I actually invited José Ceja to come and train out here with me. He was actually living with me, and he was my sparring partner for a while. So I don't really have to, get any footage on him. I know his style. I know what he does. I know what he's going to do. And he has a big heart. He fights with a lot of heart.
Mm-hmm. I can understand that. But to be honest, when it comes to this particular fight, you're going to probably have to, overlook the fact that he's 4-5 and think of him as probably a guy looking to come in and, take your head off. But, do you even think that José Ceja poses any challenge towards you, even though he has a 4-5 record?
Yes, he does. He poses a challenge. José Ceja has cheeking on some guys. He's been in there with guys with big records. His losses don't come to just any guys, that are not the good or whatever, or trumps. José Ceja, DJ Fuente was like maybe he had twice the amount of fights that he had. He fought Erwin Beef twice. Erwin cheeking on him or submitted him the first fight. And so on the second fight with Combate, José Ceja came and knocked him out in the second round, I think. He fought, what's his name, out of Combate too. He just fought, for a title, and he lost.
Was it Andres Quintana or something?
No. Before that, he fought, the guy that fought, Gustavo Lopez.
Oh, right.
What's his name, not Gustavo Lopez, the guy that just fought Gustavo Lopez for Gustavo Lopez defending his title. I forgot his name. He has a good record.
You know what? It's
What's
okay, dude. I don't know because I haven't really been. No disrespect to Campbell McLaren, even though he'll probably come in and beat the hell out of me for saying this, but still, I don't really watch too much of Combate Americas because of the fact, not because of the fact that it's on Univision, but because of the fact that it's on, like, late at night, like 10:35, 11 o'clock, pretty much.
Oh, I hear you.
Yeah, so it comes on late, but still. I don't really watch much of it because of the fact that, it's on at odd hours of the night. But still, when it comes down to this potential deal with Access TV, I know that if you win this fight against Ceja, you probably might get, an opportunity to fight on that platform as well.
After this opportunity, I'm gonna see, winning this fight. I'm gonna see what I can do with Combate. I am in a multi-fight contract with them, and I want to see what's next for me. After winning this fight, I want to see what's next, what could happen, and go from there. The platform is not a big thing for me. It's the fighter. The reason this fight it means a lot to me is because me and José Ceja, we actually dislike each other in real life.
Like
we don't like each other.
Beef, legitimate heat against each
other? Yes, we actually have beef. We don't like each other. We want to rip each other's head off. We have a history of an incident that happened, and when we were training together. So we have been trying to get this fight done years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So his record right now might not mean a lot. I was trying to fight him two years ago we were supposed to fight. It didn't happen. We were supposed to fight a while, maybe 5 years ago as well, or 4 years ago. That didn't happen, and it actually is happening now. People might look at José Ceja's record and be like, man, his record's not that good. But if you guys see José Ceja, the way he fights, he gives it his all. He's not somebody you're going to walk through. He's not somebody you're going to go in there and pick him apart and beat him up. He's not. And if you are beating him up, he's the guy that's going to push forward every single second of the round. Bloody or not, hurt or not, he's going to push forward and he's going to try to finish you with every freaking punch. I've seen that guy fight as an amateur. And I've seen that guy fight as a pro as well.
I see. And when it comes down to one of his past opponents, I don't know if it was Joey Ruquette or Jose Alday that you were talking about.
Joey Roquette.
Oh, El Cazador.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when it comes to Roquette, I mean, do you have any history with him? Have you been wanting to fight him or something?
We actually are with the same management team, and I communicate with him a little bit with Joey Roquette, and I told him I wanted to fight José Ceja. He told me, man, I invited me to call. He told me one of the hardest hitting guys on that José Ceja. That's so hard.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. Don't quote me on that. But he said either one of the hardest hitters guys that's been hit by, or he hits really hard. Or I don't really remember what he said.
Understood. I mean, I'm not gonna quote anybody on anything. I mean, I just, done some searching for a little bit. I mean, I'm sorry, I do my research on the fly here.
Yeah.
But still, you're saying that the, platform is not really that important to you. It's the fighter. I mean, when it comes to, your fights outside of Combate Americas, you fought on the Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series, winning via unanimous decision over Toby Meach, but didn't get signed to that elusive UFC contract. And then, about this time last year, you defeated UFC veteran Walel the Gazelle Watson on the Liddell Ortiz show last Thanksgiving weekend. But when it comes down to these two shows and these particular, venues, because you fought in Vegas, you fought in Inglewood, California, but how do you think that those two, platforms differ from Combate Americas?
I mean, shoot, man, that's something I've never really thought about. Like I tell you, I never pay attention to the venue. I'm gonna tell you this: when I fought for Golden Boy MMA, being on the pay-per-view card, being on the main freaking card, walking out to over 7,000 in attendance. That was amazing. Celebrities everywhere. People were rooting for me. I don't pay attention to my surroundings. I pay attention to my job when I go in there. But just being in that platform right after my fight and looking up at the ratings and looking up at the pay-per-view buys and looking at the people in attendance and who was there, man, it was amazing. I think it was one of the best. And then fighting under two freaking legends, two Hall of Famers. Fuck. That's history in my books. That's something that's going to be with me forever. And then being on the Primetime 360, Tito Ortiz, Chris Cyborg, BJ Penn, Allison Overeem, everybody with the same management team. That's even, it's crazy. It's just I keep making history and history in my book.
I see. Which will probably lead me to asking this question. I know that with opportunities like these comes great opportunities elsewhere. I mean, you already fought on the UFC Fight Pass, obviously, as I mentioned, on the Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series, and you fought on pay-per-view before, so this will be your second time coming up fighting on pay-per-view. But if given that opportunity to, fight in Japan, like what El Cazador has done in shoot boxing, or fight on a UFC card or on a Bellator card, would you probably, jump at the opportunity of getting those chances to fight on those greener pastures, or would you basically be the main one that said, nah, you know what? Fuck that. I got opportunities with Campbell McLaren that nobody's going to be able to give me.
My doors are open for opportunities. I want to make my own history. I want to write my own book. I want to write my own legacy. And to be honest, Japan has been one of my bucket lists since I started fighting. Vegas was number one, then Japan, and then now New York is on the bucket list, and maybe even Dubai. So I already did Vegas. I already did a pay-per-view card. I just need Japan, Dubai, and New York.
So basically you would want to fight in a place like the UFC or the Rising Fighting Federation or even Brave CF, right?
Yes. Why not have UFC under my belt as well? You know, why not have Rizin under my belt? Why not? You know, I'm just gonna build my own legacy. I'm gonna build my, you know, I'm living my story. I'm living my book. I'm living, you know, something I'm gonna leave my grandchildren. Something I'm gonna leave everybody behind. I'm gonna leave a story behind for them.
I see, and I can understand that because a lot of fighters don't want to, you know, follow that ideology of, you know, no matter how much crazy stuff I pull, I'm gonna still be, you know, known as a legend. Like, nobody wants to follow the Conor McGregor type of fight style. They want to follow their own legacy, and, you know, it's best to be yourself rather than try and be everybody else.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to be my own self. I'm trying to do my own story, do my own legacy. Doesn't matter how people look at me. People can. How many fighters? Give me a second. How many fighters can say that they fought on the pay-per-view card on the Tito Ortiz and Chuck Liddell? I grew up watching Tito Ortiz and Chuck Liddell. That's crazy.
And now for you to fight on another Tito Ortiz card, this time against Alberto El Patron Rodriguez, it's pretty crazy for you. Yeah, I know. Alberto Del Rio, Alberto El Patron, Dos Calas Jr. I heard about him. But for you to fight on two Tito Ortiz cards, this gotta be incredible for you.
I mean, it's amazing. Tito Ortiz is a great guy. I would say we became friends now. You know, he was here 2 weeks ago. We're eating. I message him whenever I want. We talk, we communicate. I've gone out there and trained at Huntington Beach with him. It's just, he's a great freaking guy. Never would I think Tito Ortiz was gonna be like this. Growing up, like I saw the way he was, the way he would, talk in his interviews and laugh at Dana White and laugh at Chuck Liddell and you know,
and upset the Shamrocks pretty much.
So yeah, like, you know, and I was like, man, like I guess I was reading the cover of him, like, you know, his persona, you know, thinking that's who he was and he was gonna be like this, or, you know, certain ways I was judging him before. And when I went out there to Huntington Beach, he was just a great freaking guy. He was amazing, humble, respectful. You know, he was crazy. And then, you know, 2-3 years later, you know, we hang out, we talk. You know, gives me advice. You know, real humble. And this guy, I mean, not that long ago, me and my friend were looking up his net worth. And, you know, we're laughing because we're like, Tito Ortiz, that was $15 million. We're like, what the hell? Like, we were fucking surprised how humble this guy really is. With all his accomplishments from being a movie star, Hall of Fame UFC, a UFC champion, you know, still fighting, from going into Bellator, and then Combate Americas, you know, this guy just does it all. And he just doesn't stop. He's a machine.
That he is. And it's crazy that he's still going at, you know, his age. I think he's nearing 40 or at 40 at this case, fighting somebody who has made a lot of history in Alberto, who obviously has won titles in professional wrestling with the WWE, CMLL, and AAA.
He also fought in Pride back in the day.
Mm-hmm. That he has, even though he got kicked in the head by Miracle Kokoff.
Yes, he did. But, I mean, you know, he has the experience. I don't think he has the experience to beat Tito Ortiz. I think you know, but what people say it is or what people think about this fight, I mean, it is what it is. And I talked to Tito Ortiz, and Tito Ortiz says, I don't care who the guy thinks he is. I don't care what he brings to the table. It's my legacy on the line. And I'm not going to allow any guy to come and think that they can come and play around with me. I'm going to knock him out first round. I'm going to beat him up, and I'm going to knock him out. So, well, are you for real, Tito? Like, he didn't kill this guy. He's like, no, I'm not playing around. This is my legacy. I'm not playing around with shit. He said, I'm going to knock him out. I said, well, you know, double leg him and slam him in the face. Like, no. I want to beat his ass up and stab him.
Mm-hmm. I can understand that, but would the same thing apply to your fight against José Ceja? Are you planning to go toe-to-toe with him for 3 rounds, or are you planning to finish him off in 1?
So I'm gonna try to finish him off in every single round. Every round, as soon as the bell rings to the last bell, I'm gonna try to knock him out. I'm in there to kill him. I'm in there to pull a point. I'm in there to knock people out. I'm not in there to play no games. I'm not there to. If you see my fights, I'm always pushing forward. I'm not there to play it safe. You know, ever since I started fighting as an amateur, I've always brought the fight. Always. I always brought the fight. My last 3 fights as an amateur were all title fights, and I stopped all 3 guys. When I'm 11-2, I have 6 knockouts. Every fight I'm pushing forward.
Oh, okay. But in a way, and I want to try and close, you know, this interview off with a couple of questions. First of all, I know you told me earlier that you grew up in a crazy background, and obviously you being from South Texas, myself being from Southeast Texas, we've all seen some crazy shit go down. But, you know, if you weren't fighting, let's just say if you weren't a trained, highly competitive mixed martial artist with an 11-2 record, what would have been your fallback plan? What would have been your plan B? You know, just to get people, I mean, if you weren't a fighter, what would have been your calling card, so to speak?
I would have probably been a drunk, probably dead, or arrested. I really didn't have no direction until I found fighting. I got 10 years in this career, and I had no direction before it. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I was working from job to job, quitting and getting other jobs, drinking from Thursday to Sunday. So I really don't know where I would have been at.
So basically, in a way, fighting is your life.
It's everything, to be honest. Fighting right now, everything. Fighting is my image. Fighting feeds my family. Fighting is going to open my opportunities for any businesses in the future. Fighting is giving me food right now, giving my kids food right now, giving my kids clothing right now. Fighting at this moment is everything. Fighting is my wife. Fighting is my other child. Fighting is just everything. I don't know how to say it or how to explain this, but if I'm not fighting, I don't know who I am. And I don't know what I will be doing.
Basically, in a way, Carlos Mencia likes to say, if you ain't laughing, you ain't living. In a way.
Pretty much.
In a way, if you ain't fighting, you ain't living. Mm-hmm. But still, when it comes to this particular fight, you're going to be again, fighting on pay-per-view for the second time. If you win this fight, you're going to probably be fighting on Access TV, you know, until your Combate Americas contract goes out. What would be the message you would want to send to fight fans, you know, who either haven't watched you for the first time or have not watched you since the Wallell Watson fight?
What would be the message?
Yeah, what would be the message to send to fans who are unknown of you or who haven't seen you since the Wallell Watson fight?
Man, I mean, my message, you guys already know what I bring to the table. You guys see the power. Doesn't matter if you're the UFC or you're a starter or you've been fighting for so long. I'm going to go in there and knock every opponent out if I can. I'm going to push forward. I'm going to give you a fight to remember. It's going to be bloody. It's going to be ugly, but it's going to be a war. And you guys are going to enjoy. You guys are going to enjoy it because I like to call myself an entertainer. And that's what I am. I go in there and entertain my fans. And I try to get the job done as soon as possible. If I can't, I'm still going to try to knock the guy out every single round, every second of the time being in the game.
I see. And right now, before I close this interview out, is there any way that your fans, your people, your familia can get in contact with you? And is there any sponsors or any influential folks you would like to give a shout out to? And this includes your fight team as well, even though from what I'm looking at on Tapology, you're not affiliated with anybody.
No, I don't like to claim a team because at times the different fights, different coaches have things to have different techniques to offer. But I would like to say this: I do train with Wolfpack Muay Thai. I would like to give a shout out to Wolfpack Muay Thai. Coach Abram. I'd like to give a shout out to Bad Boys Boxing Gym, Coach Oscar. I would love to give a shout out to KO Social Club, Bubba's Barbershop, the Fat Boy Racing, B&B Express. There's many people that support me, all my fans, all my family. You guys want to follow me, you guys want to be in contact with me, Ricardo El Gallero Palacios on Facebook. Also, my fan page is the same, Ricardo El Gallero Palacios. El Gallero 05 on Instagram and on Twitter. You know, guys, hit me up. I do answer back to all my fans. I answer back to all my friends. I'm still looking for sponsors. If anybody wants to, wants to sponsor, wants me to represent their company, their logo, or business, let me know. I'm going to be in this pay-per-view card, and it's going to be history in the making. Watch Ricardo Palacios knock out José Ceja.
I see. And, I just realized one thing. You're going to be fighting on FITE TV again when it comes down to this pay-per-view card. That's the FITE app. When it comes to the, Tito Alberto card. And I know that you fought on there before with the Liddell Ortiz fight card. But, I already asked, what do you think? Damn it. I already asked, how do you think that people will be able to see you for the first time or something like that? But what do you want fans to remember you for after you fight José Ceja?
Just the way my style is, how I fight, what I go in there and do, how I dance, how I perform, and how I entertain. I want them to know, and I want them to know who I am, know my name, know that every time I go in there, they're going to love to see me. They're going to want to see me. The next card, they're expecting me. Doesn't matter if it's Combate, Bellator, UFC, Rizin, One Championship. My fans are going to want to see Ricardo El Gallero Palacios fight.
I see. And with that, I know you got to get going because you got to I mean, I don't know if you're continuing to train with 2 weeks to go before this fight, but still, I'm gonna go ahead and hang up now. But it's been fun talking with you, Senor Palacios. May peace be with you, and I hope that you can go back to South Texas. Well, actually, no, this fight is gonna be in South Texas. It's gonna be in your backyard, so I really hope. Yeah, I know that you're gonna be ready with just about every single member of the South Texas fighting community, and maybe a few from Southeast Texas as well, looking to support you on this fight card. But I hope that you get yourself prepared, get yourself trained and ready, because in 2 weeks' time, on Fight TV and on your local pay-per-view provider of choice, cable or satellite, you're going to be fighting José Ceja on the same fight card that Tito Ortiz will face off against Alberto El Patron del Rio Rodriguez on. And, I hope it's going to be a banger, man.
Appreciate it, man. Well, you have a good night, and God bless.
Hey, may you be blessed, sir. Thanks for, the interview.
No problem. I'll see you later, man.
Okay. See you later. Buenas noches.